All right. Happy day after Layla Edwards' Day. It is Monday, June 15th at 7:40. And this is our regular city council meeting. Addie, would you please call the roll?
Cobb.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Posh.
Here.
DeWitt Foy.
Here.
Stone.
Here.
Kuda.
Here.
Cohen.
Here.
All right. Any amendments to the agenda? Hearing none. We're going to start with our presentations. We have Keisha Allen here, the Executive Director of HRRC, and we're so glad to have you and glad to hear about any updates you might have for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Petrus, esteemed members of council. My name is Keisha Allen. I'm the Executive Director at Home Repair Resource Center, and I just want to provide you all in the community with a little bit of update what we've been doing over on 2520 Noble Road for the past few years, and an update on some of our programs that we want to make sure all the community knows about so they can come into our offices and listen. So for folks who don't know a lot about us, we've been in the community since 1971. We were founded by Forest Hills Presbyterian Church, one of our esteemed community members, Diana Woodbridge, and some folks really wanted to preserve the housing stock in Cleveland Heights and support new homeowners coming in from the city by providing them resources, funding, education, things like that to make sure that they were good stewards of the community, as well as making sure that they had the support and resources to be able to sustain it in our community. Things we do, we preserve and upgrade the city's older housing stock. Everybody knows that we're a century-old community with housing stock. 60-40 homeowners as far as renters. And with that housing stock, we need improvement. With the leadership of this council and Mayor Petrus, we've had some great development that's been going on, but we need to still make sure we focus on the roots, and that's our foundation. So the things that we do are supporting that, and then we do it at a very, we try to meet people at various intersections of home ownership. So we offer down payment assistance, which I'll get into a little bit more. Our housing counseling program provides financial education and counseling, which makes folks more aware of what they need to do to prepare to either own a home or to preserve a home. Our housing counseling does things such as educate folks about how to be good homeowners, as well as, when things get rough, we have foreclosure prevention, so we can make sure those houses don't go in disrepair, become vacant, and provide them with all the resources they need. We are also a HUD-approved counseling agency, one of the only ones in the whole county. So we provide a lot of services that are outside of down payment assistance and housing counseling to homeowners throughout. One of our founding programs was the Challenge Fund that wound up going to scale with the county. Right now it's on pause, but this is one of the first intersections in which the founders thought they can have resources to provide homeowners. It was a grant or a loan actually that they got from homeowners that maybe had low equity in their home or maybe had something bad on their credit where, they couldn't get that home equity loan. So with our kind of hand-holding, we were able to create what's called the Challenge Fund program, in which we were able to loan over $16 million since this program's inception in 1983. And then we moved it to scale. We figured everyone in Cuyahoga County needed this, but the county and the financier didn't really have the appetite. So we paused the program, and we're looking for other programs or other institutions to help supplement and get this back up and running. We are a CDBG funded through the City of Cleveland Heights organization, so we're able to provide grants, other deferred loans, and we especially take care of our senior homeowners by providing them grants to allow them to age in place. A couple other intersections, we have our repair education and our workshops. Like I said, over on Noble, is it right now? Tonight we're actually having Cleveland Recycles there, where we're having a free class. So at least 3 nights a week, we're having classes either at our facility or all the way as far as west as North Olmsted and as far as east as Whitcliffe. And we want to provide people the information and the education to be able to do things on their own. And even if they can't do it on their own, they actually have the knowledge to be able to work with a contractor. We have a tool library that has over 1,000 tools. where our platform is online. And for $25, you can rent a tool for a full week and get those repairs done for you know, the cost of taking a trip up to Home Depot at Severance. Talking about the senior repair program, we do have the Home and Heights program. It's actually a separate program that some of our peers have kind of taken on, in which we used to acquire homes from the Cleveland Heights Land Bank as well as the Cuyahoga County Land Bank. Both programs are great, in which we are able to, you know, like I said, preserve home ownership, especially when seniors are about to transition to a different phase in their life. And purchasing foreclosed homes is always a good thing, because no one likes to see a sore site on the streets. And if we can use our expertise to get it into the hands of a developer and get it vibrant again, that's our goal. So council asked me to come here today to talk about some of our newer programs. We are one of the fortunate agencies to be able to be funded through the ARPA program, which is the American Rescue Act program that funded, I think it was like $63 million throughout the city of Cleveland Heights. And we have two special programs in which I like to talk about. One in which I'll talk about President of Council Kuda really championed. But our down payment assistance, I went the wrong way. Our down payment assistance, we used to run the program. It was funded through the county through with an acronym called Home Dollars. You can look that up online. I'm not going to go through it right now. But we used to offer $10,000, right? And it was a non-forgivable loan to homeowners in which we were enticing folks to come in and move into our city. With the expanded guidelines provided through the ARPA program, the Housing and Preservation Office got creative, and we decided to raise the limits to provide a bigger carrot for homeowners. And kind of increase the income limits and be more flexible with that. And so some kind of key features about the down payment assistance is that it's a 0% deferred loan, meaning that based on your income level is when you actually begin to pay it back. And depending on your income level, you may not have to pay it back. Those were some things that we worked through with Councilman Cobb, and making sure that there's some skin in the game. That's one thing that we are very excited about when all of our programs, we don't like to do for, we like to do with. So we feel as though if we provide you with an assistance to be able to preserve your home or do something to get your home, that, you know, you should have some investment. So just a gift or a handout is not something we're interested in. And we'd like to thank Councilman Cobb for really working with us to make sure we got those conditions right. And there'll be some information at the end of the presentation. You can go to our website to get all the frequently asked questions, applications, fact sheets, anything you need to know more about the program. But I didn't want to bog everybody down with that and kind of give you guys some kind of higher highlights. So owner occupants only, right? We're not encouraging people to come to our place to get a house for, you know, a down payment assistance for $30,000 and flip it. We follow and track that over the years to make sure folks are doing their due diligence. Primary residence, 1 or 2 family homes, so it has to be owner occupied. So if we're doing a duplex, the owner has to live in one side. We're really targeting new home buyers, getting this out to banks. A lot of our partners at Huntington, First National, and a lot of mortgage lenders, only in Cleveland Heights. Income qualified, like I said, I'm gonna use another acronym, but where the program only used to allow 80% of the area average median income, this program goes up to 120%, allowing folks in that different kind of median income being able to be eligible for it. And you gotta secure conventional financing. We're not doing any type of cash deals because, you know, we wanna secure our money by a mortgage. As I mentioned before, all of our applicants must go through homebuyer education. It's kind of like that safeguard that I really want to preserve in how we run the agency, and that we're teaching people how to fish, right? We're not just giving them the fish. So they go through an 8-hour course required in which we talk about budgeting, credit counseling, everything about mortgaging or the mortgage process, and of course home maintenance, because that's our key. So what have we done since 2025? I'm proud to say we've been able to assist 13 families at the tune of $382,000. in 2025, we did a chunk of that because we were really trying to make sure we met the deadlines. And without getting the community involved, ARPA money comes with deadlines on which you have to spend them down. And with $30,000, this was easy. Our first bucket of money kind of went quick. And to that regard, I'd like to thank again Council for and Mayor Petrus and Law Director Hannah for really heeding the call from the community in which, we had already expired our first bucket of money, and then we had to have to retool things legally to be able to get the program up and running. And I think on your agenda today, you're going to be approving the Housing Advisory Board, which will allow us to resume this program, which has been currently on pause for the past couple months. So we have folks in the portal waiting for this decision tonight, and we're very appreciative for your expediency on being able to get this taken care of. Folks are excited, right? Everybody wants to hear a story. That's actually not a stock photo. That's a real person. So being able to get into the community, we all know where we live, where we work, being an inner ring suburb, and for folks to be able to start a family in Cleveland Heights, I think that we wear that with pride. And going through the process from starting application to going through home buyer education with our director of home ownership, Denise Wallace, who's amazing, working with Carolyn Ostrom, our administrator, to kind of just get things moving. We really get to meet these families and meet them where they are. So hearing these testimonials, hearing folks be happy about what we're able to do, it brings joy to everybody's heart. And I know that's why you all ran to be elected, and that's why I go to work every day. Excuse us, our QR code was not in this. I'll make sure I'll get that. I thought I sent it to Eddie. It was not this part. But I'm going to talk about our ARPA exterior maintenance grant program. Again, this was very much so championed by President Tony Kuda and actually former Councilwoman Davita Russell, who live in the Noble neighborhood, right? We understand where we are and how we've seen the shift from 2018 to where housing values were at $50,000, $70,000, and now we're up around $100,000. And that's because we're investing in our community. That's because our CDBD dollars are going to these types of efforts, because we have an ARPA program that will have $1.2 million at the end, in which we're going to be doing exterior maintenance all over the city. So we're super excited about that. Like I said, thanks to President Kuda for really championing this. When we talk about buckets of money, we have $250,000 to kind of spend before the end of December 31st. And we are, there's another slide for that, but we are well on our way to meeting that goal with actually finalizing a couple garages today and making sure that we're getting to that mark, because, each project, it gets up to $8,000, and these are exterior repairs. We're talking about things that can't be done through CDBG. So we're talking about garages, right? Driveways, painting, windows. So again, there's income guidelines that comes with everything that we do, but we have that flexibility with the way we created the program with council and with the law department. So we're super excited about that. I just talked about all of this. So we received over 400 applications just from inside of the city of Cleveland Heights. Again, at least 35 homeowners, when you talk about $8,000 a piece, will be served this year. When I made this before today, we were at 138. We're about 156 with about another 12 projects ready to go. So we're super excited about that, especially when the weather changes. This is good. And this is just a simple picture of kind of in progress and end for a project over on Shannon that we're doing with a deck and some painting. So I've been talking a lot, and I hope my passion comes out. Because I'm super excited about what we are able to accomplish as a team. And, we really appreciate the support of the mayor and the administration, as well as the council, and really appreciate the support of the Planning and Development Department, the Home Preservation Office, because we work as a team. And when, the rumblings, let's be honest, right? The rumblings about the city's not working right, especially with housing, right? We've all been through the transition. I think when Director Zamp came in, he had a plan, and he's brought us all along to kind of work as partners. And I want to credit him so much for getting us all on board and using the resources that you all allow us to use to be able to do the things we do. Because we have to be creative. That's when I talk about, when you're relying on grant funding, you got to be creative. You can't just, go about the status quo. You got to find niches that really support the folks that you need to help. Yes, we have grants for seniors. Yes, we have grants for low to moderate income people, but there's that bubble of folks that still need support and still want to stay and be homeowners in Cleveland Heights. And that's what we try to support. So I've been talking a lot, and I'm going to talk tomorrow morning. So I'd like to answer any questions anyone has. Again, sorry about the QR code, but anybody online, we're at 2520 Noble Road. Our offices are open from 9:30 to 6 on any given day, 9 when we have classes. And please take advantage of the opportunities that we have in regards to the grants. A lot of people don't think they will qualify. There's a frequently asked questions portion on our webpage. You check that off. It goes to our website, our inbox, and then we're super available to ask you questions. And what I always challenge my team to do is that if we can't help them, make sure we're pointing them into a direction in which they can be helped and not getting a voicemail or another call. So with that, thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman DeWitt Foy.
Thank you so much. That was a great presentation, and thank you for the work you do every day. My question is around gap financing. Are you seeing that as an issue with many prospective homeowners? And does the down payment assistance program, is that able to be used for gap financing, or are there other programs that you have access to that can help with that?
There are other programs we have access to. GAP hasn't necessarily been a problem. When this program has been presented to our partners in the financial community, they pretty much want to eat it up. And, they usually have their own products that kind of couple with this product, so it makes it a lot easier. So it's not too big, as well as the fact that the values of our housing stock, it's not like we're, doing $500,000 deals. People have enough capital to come in. It's just this additional edge that makes that, that monthly payment from being, $1,500 to $1,300. So then now they're able to save and do more things.
But for the most part, you're seeing appraisals come in?
Yes, appraisals are coming in, if not $5,000 to $10,000.
Is that a change from?
It is. It's a significant
change.
Absolutely, especially in certain districts within the city. It's a significant change.
Great, thank you.
Other questions? Yeah. Oh, there you are.
Keisha, I absolutely honor you for everything that you do for our neighbors. I live on Monte Vista, and I've had several neighbors who have gone through the program trying to get help for repairs, and they've been very successful with your staff. They felt welcomed. They absolutely felt that this process because a process is fine, right? But you have to back it up with being able to walk people through it. And you all do that beautifully. I would also like to say with gratitude to President Kuda that he incorporated sidewalk repairs into that exterior repair program, because that's something that we're really struggling with every day still. But you've given us a great start, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I mean, I think that we heard for me as a new council member, heard the importance of the down payment assistance program when it had to be paused. And it was just so clear, what value it brings to the community. We talked about when we had an ARPA presentation from the planning department, they shared the value that these programs have really brought into the community. And so I'm very much hoping that as we run into budget season for 2027, that your organization and the planning department work together to let us know how we can continue this success, because having those funds kind of just abruptly end with so much need in the community when we're also hearing from our resident survey that housing enforcement and exterior, the exterior condition of our homes is so important to the vitality of our city. I think this is just an opportunity where we can continue to grow the work and then improve the city for all residents. So thank you for that.
Like I said, Director Zamp, we work together hand in hand, and the work they do, you have to come to City Hall, right? You have to come and deal with that process. You can come to Noble, and I think it cuts the red tape, but I also think it allows a little bit more access to what they're doing in City Hall to make them a little bit more approachable and reachable as well. So that's what I think Director Zamp has really kind of incorporated into the work that he's been doing. So we don't feel like an annex and we don't feel like one or the other. We feel very cohesive in the work that we do.
All right. Well, I love where you are on Noble. I love what you do and how you guys do it. It's such a great service to the community. The down payment assistance program is so wonderful because there are a lot of people that pay rent that is equal to
Absolutely.
what they would be
Especially in Cleveland Heights.
in a mortgage. And, they just can't bank enough money, to get that head start. And this gives people a chance for home ownership. And there are a lot of people that do prefer that, that would rather own a home than just rent into perpetuity. As far as the exterior repair program, that was something I had been thinking about when I was running in 2021. But I have to tell you, being able to collaborate with you on that, and, we had a lot of phone calls and email exchanges. We had that spreadsheet and, there was a lot of haggling that went on. But eventually, we came up with a really good program, and the planning department really helped with the implementation. And I'm glad that you're on track to get this done by the end of the year. And
and there's additional money. So we have different pots.
Right.
So that pot is a little bit more flexible, but our goal is to get the first pot down, and then we'll talk about all the things that we have to do after that.
now you have all these applications, so it's probably, if I were to encourage people to apply, is it worth it?
Absolutely. So the way we encourage people to apply, that's why I'm here. That's why I think we're here, because I don't think too many people know about us, because a lot of the programs, when you hear you get in government assistance, let's talk about the stigma, right? It's for poor people. So that's why I think, this is not. This is for homeowners. This is for people who, the income levels are changing this month. And, you can make some money and still get this assistance. So I think, you asking me to be here is very important, because we can put everything online and be in the Observer and, have a newsletter. But we want to make sure, because of those 400 applicants, there were a lot we couldn't accept, right? But there's others that don't even know about it. And we encourage them to apply. And, once we spend this first pot of money, we still have 3 times that amount. So there's enough to go around. And we're trying to work with the planning department and the housing inspection to kind of follow that as well, so we can work with the housing court with a diversion program. So we're trying to be very strategic in it. So getting the awareness out there to say, hey, give us a call. The only thing we could do is tell you no, but we'll try to give you another resource. But we're encouraging people to give us a call and to, just inquire, because you might be eligible.
Thank you, Keisha. We really appreciate you.
Thank you all.
All right, proclamations and honors. First, we have, Mayor, are you doing the first one? Yeah. So this is for Cleveland Heights University Heights 100-year anniversary proclamation. Mayor Petras.
This evening to be joined with the superintendent of our school district, Liz Kirby, and the president of our Board of Education, Gabe Crenshaw, and Vice President Phil Trimble. So if you wouldn't mind joining us up here. Is this on? Okay. So this evening, thank you again for joining us. This evening, we have a proclamation recognizing the 100th anniversary of the Cleveland Heights University Heights School District. So whereas for 100 years, the Cleveland Heights University Heights School District has educated generations of students while fostering academic excellence, intellectual curiosity, and creativity. And whereas the district is recognized for its commitment to strong public education, innovative academic programming, and for preparing students for success in higher education, careers, and community life. Whereas the CHUH School District has earned a proud reputation for its longstanding commitment to diversity, inclusion, and equity. And whereas the district's nationally respected music, theater, visual, and performing arts enrich the lives of students and residents while cultivating generations of accomplished artists. And whereas Cleveland Heights High School's athletic programs have built a proud tradition of excellence, producing championship teams, accomplished student athletes, and nationally recognized alumni who have excelled at the collegiate, professional, and Olympic levels. And whereas the district has fostered a rich tradition of extracurricular involvement, student leadership, and civic engagement, and whereas generations of dedicated teachers, administrators, staff, coaches, and families has contributed to the district's enduring legacy, and whereas the CHUH School District remains one of the defining institutions of the Heights community and continues to inspire pride throughout its resilience, innovation, and diversity. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Cleveland Heights proudly recognizes and congratulates the Cleveland Heights University Heights City School District on its 100th anniversary. It's there.
Mayor, stay in there. There you go. Thank you very much.
All right, would you like to say something?
Would any of you like to share any words?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Mayor Petrus and council members, and we hope that you all will join us at some of the celebratory festivities happening this weekend.
We really appreciate the support and collaboration of the City Council, consistently supporting public schools and our school district. Cleveland Heights High School is such a very, very special place, and all over the world, alumni of Cleveland Heights are making great contributions to the world, and that really is also testament to the city and the type of leaders that the city produces. So we're just pleased to have the opportunity as a school district to help prepare those students, but we know those roots start right in the Cleveland Heights community. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll just add that while there's awesome celebrations going on all weekend, there's plenty of awesome stuff happening throughout the year. And so hopefully members of the community can join us at a game or a performance or a celebration happening at one of our buildings.
Thank you again for joining us, and congratulations.
All right. And as a proud graduate of the high school, I got to tell you that really made me the person I am. I so understand why the Kelsey brothers talk about Cleveland Heights all the time, because it just becomes so much part of you. I know if I grew up somewhere else, I'd be, a different person. And I have so many fond memories of the school. I was there the first half of the 50, the first 50 years I wasn't. But even tutoring, I think I tutored there either 5 or 6 years ago. The students, the staff, the after-school programs, just wonderful. And I encourage, I don't know if it's allowed, but I would encourage people who want to visit the school. It's really worthwhile. You seeing it on the inside is, it's beautiful on the outside, but seeing it on the inside is really wonderful. And I would encourage everybody to do that and to enjoy these festivities on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. Councilman Posh, did you want to say anything? Being a former school board member?
Well, if I have to.
You don't have to.
I was trying to think if it's heights100.org or heights100.com, but it's one of those two. Com. It's how you can buy tickets. Thank you. That's how you can buy tickets for the weekend. And a wonderful thing going on Friday night. You're basically taking the whole athletic fields and you're basically turning it into a big place with food trucks and entertainment. And I think 1,000 tickets I've heard have been sold for that, and nearly 1,000 tickets for the gala. Don't worry about, they want you to get dressed up, but get dressed up. I don't think you need a tux, so don't let that stop you from going. If you don't have a tux, go there, show up. Just support your school district. That's done so well for us. So.
All righty, thank you again. Thank you. All right, moving on. We have Carla Rautenberg and Deborah Van Cleef here. We don't have your proclamation, but we want to honor you tonight, both of you. I think that anybody who reads the Heights Observer, and I do, I don't read everything in there, but I always read your column. I would never want to miss that. Your perspective and the research that you guys do and the heart that you put in to everything and how you elevate issues and don't always do the expected, like something could be going on. And you guys sometimes go, you know what, we're going to leave that alone. And we're going to talk about this other thing that's not getting the attention it should get. I think you guys have been so great at that. And we'll miss you. I don't know what could possibly take your place. But I know that I'm going to miss your column. I've enjoyed it. And I certainly want to know if anybody else on council would like to say anything. Go ahead, Councilman Posh. We'll move this way.
And I mean, the two of you are so Cleveland Heights. I mean, you are just wrapped up Cleveland Heights. When you think about what Cleveland Heights is, it's the two of you guys. And as Tony was saying, is like, I'm racking my head. What could replace this? I just don't think anything could. And it's always a pleasure when you get a call from one of you and then you get a counterpoint call from the other one of you about an article. And it's like, you are doing your research. You're checking things out and you're doing a little investigative reporting and, speaking from the heart. We're going to miss this. So I hope you op-ed it sometimes. So at least we can get some.
Yeah.
We'll miss you too. We'll be around. We're not going to shut up.
Madam Vice President.
And it's bad the school district representatives have left because we're both products of.
Oh, right. That's right.
And I learned everything I know about journalism writing for the Black and Gold.
Wow. Nice.
To Carla and Deborah, when I moved here in 2014, I didn't know very much about this city. But when you started writing in 2016, is that correct? 10 years of journalism? Yeah. Well, when I started reading your articles in 2016 in the Heights Observer, I knew that I had the opportunity to learn about this city, and you have not disappointed me one iota on any of the particular monthly Heights Observers. And I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss your journalism, but I know I'll see you all around the city because you love it here, and you are a big contribution to why this city is as great as it is. So bless you both, and thank you so much.
I have almost no words because I was so sad when I got the email. I was very happy you're retiring and having more time from the column. But Carla and I first met when we sat on the 2017 Charter Review Commission together. We literally sat next to each other for a year and a half, countless hours of meetings, and we didn't always agree. Some things we did agree on, some things we didn't. But the one thing I could always count on was a thoughtfulness and a real assessment of anything that we were thinking about or talking about. And Deborah, I came to know you by association, but soon in your own right. And you too were one of the first people that I called when I decided to run for council, because if there was anyone in the city who could talk about the deep systemic issues and things that council has to face, it's the two of you. And I just really want to say that, and I have always so admired you both for epitomizing what I think is the best of democracy and the best of what makes our country and our values meaningful. I mean, the reason that you come, the reasoning that you bring, the civility you bring, the thoughtfulness that you bring to every single issue is the way that I wish everyone came to all the issues. And I will miss the regular voice in the column. I read it online or I read it in paper. And I just want to thank you not only for all you've done for the city, but all you've done for me as role models and as engaged citizens, and really the very best of what our city has to offer. So thank you.
I think every community needs wise women, and you are those wise women. Like our vice president, I'm a recent transplant, 10 years. I probably came when you started writing your column, and I would get to know Cleveland Heights by reading The Observer and other places, and then I'd read your column and say, oh, because I would understand the depth of the issues, the kinds of concerns that you may have heard from all of the residents you might have talked to and from your own perspectives. Always shrewd, always factual, wise, and really representing the best of Cleveland Heights. So you've done the city a great service, and especially for people, and there are more of them than you might think, who are new here for the first time. We understood our city better because of you.
So I also came here about 10 years ago when you started writing, and although I'm relatively new to organized politics in Cleveland Heights, I was a loyal reader for years ahead. And I remember when I first met you, Carla, at an event shortly after I had started running last year. And I got to say, I was equal parts starstruck, and I had a glass of wine and was a little nervous about the conversation because, I wanted to make sure I didn't slip up or say anything that might, come out in a column. And I think that dynamic sort of exemplifies what you both represent of this sort of like larger than life figure in the community, as well as real critical journalism and real important work that informed countless members of the community. So thank you both for all of the work, and good luck with whatever comes next.
I'll be brief as usual. For a couple of years when things were going really bad with our government, I used to dread the first of every month and opening your column. And I thought at times you guys were brutal, but you were always very honest and fair, and the insight that you provided, I think, often changed how council conducted our business going forward. So I'm going to miss the columns, and I'll both continue to see you guys in the community, and maybe you'll do a guest column every now and then.
And Carl, I was just thinking, when I came into this job, you were very much like, hey, this is not what you think it is. I'd lived here a long time, and I would come into council meetings all the time. I said, well, that's really all you need to do. Oh, no, there was a lot more to it. And I really appreciate that, being able to get background from you and perspective from you. And Deborah, I have to mention your parents, Howard and Judith, who are the people that made you who you are. They were among the first people when I got kind of more into the activist part of my life in the 80s in Cleveland Heights. Your parents were the role models for, I think, everybody in the city. I met them through Heights Community Congress, but they were involved in labor movements and just all kinds of societal issues. And I learned a lot from them, and I'm glad they lived nice, long lives. And we certainly miss them. And I know that your interest in journalism and your approach, I know where that came from because of how wonderful your parents were. And we have the mayor would like to say something, and then if either one of you would like to say something, we'd like to hear from you.
I tell folks that one of the things that I love most about our city is how civically minded people are, and I can't think of two people who epitomize that more than you two. I'll always be grateful for our long conversations and for everything that I've learned from you. And while you're retiring from the column, I know that you'll still be present in the city, whether it's at Democracy Day or some other event. I know that you'll still be around and contributing to the community. So thank you so much for everything, and congratulations on your retirement.
Would either of you like to say something? No. You got to come up to the microphone if you're going to. Okay. No, you have to do it at the microphone, because we want everybody to hear what you have to say.
Do it with this.
That's true.
One of us can do that, and one of us can do this.
Okay.
Then we don't have to pass it back and forth.
See how well they work together?
Yeah. So in our final column, there were two inexcusable oversights.
Oh.
Two indispensable people that we failed to thank.
Two guys who knew what every column took, Jim Miller and Len Friedson.
They put up with our ranting and raving about City Hall politics and sometimes about each other.
But from reading drafts and catching thematic inconsistencies to proposing topics and catching errors, they contributed a lot. Literally, we couldn't have done it without them.
Behind every good woman.
So we had to thank them publicly.
I also wanted to add something because I've had a number of conversations out in the community with people saying, well, you know, who's going to do this now that you're retiring? We chose to do a monthly column, and neither of us would have done it on our own. And we didn't really know each other that well when we started. But what I've been saying to people is you don't have to write a monthly column. You can pick something that interests you and follow it and write 2 or 3 times a year. And if, you know, a dozen people do that, there will be a lot of really, you know, insightful and savory political discussion. And we're lucky to have the Observer for that purpose. So you don't have to do what we did in order to keep this kind of discussion and inquiry going. So I'm hoping that some people will, maybe some people who are a little younger will take us up on that, and we'll see we'll get to read some new voices.
Well, thank you both. All right, and now we have communications from the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to begin by thanking everyone who joined us this weekend for Juneteenth and the Layla Edwards Parade. It was a great time, and I think that the parade on Sunday was the thing that I've enjoyed most since becoming mayor, and so it was a beautiful day. Layla is a wonderful person, so kind, so grateful. So there couldn't be someone more deserving of the recognition than her. But events like those don't just happen. There is a whole team of people behind each of them. And so I'd like to thank a lot of the folks who contributed, including Jamie Taylor, Jessica Shantz, Anna Wilson, Mark Lefkowitz, Josie Moore, Deanna Bremer-Fisher, Chief Britton, Chief Lentz, and all the officers who worked the parade route, Chief Harry, Director Gonzalez, Chris Kendall, Director Klinkscale, John Becker, other members of the Public Works team, and our City Administrator, Michael Reese. We also had some folks outside of City Hall who were helping us, including Jen Holland, Chrissy Dietrich Gallagher, Heights Libraries, our new director, Gail Kortonsky, Kayla Sweeney, and Maggie Kinney, and so many other folks who contributed. So let's give all of them a round of applause. We're really lucky to get Layla this weekend because she is headed to the draft. So Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, if you are interested in catching the draft, you can watch the draft live on YouTube beginning at 5 p.m. And we also later this month have our annual Pride in the Park event. So that is scheduled for Saturday, June 27th from 4 p.m. at Kane Park. I'd also like to congratulate Mr. Tom Jewell for his daughter Flannery's recent wedding on Friday. So congratulations, Tom, to you and your family on that.
Very much. This is true Heights romance.
Oh, is that true?
And finally,
she married local?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
They met at Howard UN. He said she was
That's great.
I heard the whole story there.
all right. And Mr. President, finally, I'm sorry that I have to share this with the community, but on Thursday, a man armed with a handgun sexually assaulted a woman in the area of Lee Road in East Derbyshire. And so for folks who have information that could lead to the identification and location of the perpetrator, we encourage people to reach out to Crime Stoppers at 216-252-7463. Again, that's 216-252-7463. And that's the end of my report for this evening.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Next, we have the Reese report.
Yeah, thank you, President Kuda, Vice President Larson, members of council. This is the June 15th, 2026 edition of the Reese report. I would, I've been here just 4.5 months, and I've also come to appreciate in that short period of time Deborah and Carla, so thank you. Appreciate it. I have 3 items to report on tonight. First, the Hillside Dairy demolition press event. This has moved along much quicker than we even expected. The abatement has been completed, and we're ready for the demolition, thanks to the hard work of our team and the contractors moving forward. So tomorrow, which is June 16th at 8:30 a.m., anyone who wants to join us is welcome to arrive. Again, 8:30 a.m. 8:45 a.m. sharp will be the press conference. We'll have a few speakers, and then at 9 a.m. the demolition begins. It will take, we expect the demolition to take approximately 2 weeks, followed by landscaping for another 2 to 3 weeks to complete the project. For anyone that wants to attend, location of the event is at the Public Works Yard, which is 1418 Warrensville Center Road. Second, I wanted to comment on the deer management program. I joined council members Posh and Larson for a meeting last week, which was June 9th, with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources to learn more about deer management programs in Northeast Ohio. We will be having a public forum in late July, early August to discuss how we might institute a deer management program in the city of Cleveland Heights. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources and Cleveland Metro Parks will lead the presentation. In addition, we've already started with public service announcements on our city e-news to educate our residents about the harmful consequences of feeding deer. Third, I'd like to comment about our Human Resources Director search. Our search for a Human Resources Director is over. The mayor has nominated Christina Halstead to be the Cleveland Heights Human Resources Director. We had a wonderful pool of qualified candidates. We received over 70 resumes, selected 11 to initially interview, then had an interview with 4 finalists, and further narrowed it to 2 candidates to go before a distinct panel, which included Shaker Heights Human Resources Director Sandy Middleton, Cleveland Heights Assistant Law Director Mary Bradley, Mayor Petrus, and myself. I want to thank Sandy and Mary for their participation in the last phase of our interview process as panel members. Christina distinguished herself throughout the interview process as someone that will be a team player, proactively engage with city employees, and implement best practices in human resources. A confirmation hearing for Ms. Halstead is scheduled for Monday, June 22nd at 5 p.m., and a vote is slated for Friday, June 26th at 11:30 a.m. And that's the conclusion of my report.
Well, thank you, Mr. Reese. I know at Economic, when we do groundbreaking, they give us these little shovels for these events. I was thinking maybe at a demolition, like just a little sledgehammer, maybe? Or something.
A little sledgehammer prop?
Have you given any thought to that?
I think that at the Warner Swayze building, they actually did give out.
Come on.
No?
See?
If you look at the picture.
I didn't think I was. Oh, thank you all.
You're welcome.
See you in the morning. It's a little early, by the way, but what are we gonna do? All right, next we have the report of the Clerk of Council.
Yes, I'd just like to notify council that I have received a notice to legislative authority for the transfer of a D3/D2X/D2 liquor permit from Edwin's Leadership and Restaurant Institute to Edwin's Oysters Bar located at 12395 Cedar Road. This matter will be referred to the mayor and chief of police.
Very good. Next, we have public comment for legislative items. How many do we have?
I have 2 for legislative items.
All right.
James O'Hare.
All right. James, are you here? So 3 minutes, when you come up, say your name and the street you live on. Thank you.
Thank you. Name's James O'Hare. I live on Kingston Road. And to Mayor Petrus and Council President Kuda, to Vice President Larson, members of council and staff and everyone here. Here to speak in support of the resolution of designating July as National Parks and Recreation Month in Cleveland Heights. The recreation activities that take place in our parks show really clearly that parks matter, that parks are necessities, not luxuries. There are a number of studies, won't go into them, conclusively show that the time spent in recreation and nature in parks, particularly in parks with a high degree of beauty and natural elements, trees, water features, it promotes long-lasting physical, emotional, and every other health that are possible. But parks need to remain more than just convenient conduits for stormwater or placeholders till something more profitable or better purpose come along. Our parks purpose, it can't always be quantified, but I can illustrate with one brief story. Last week, there were 14 elementary students, 7 chaperones, and 5 kayaks. Their 2-hour mom camp, that's what it's called, I learned, created memories. It taught teamwork and taught coordination. And it happened all in an idyllic setting, the lower lake of the Shaker Parklands. I happened to be fortunate enough to be there when an elderly couple walked by, and yes, this is exactly how it happened. They were hand in hand and they were smiling. They remarked that they said, it's so nice to see young people out doing something like this. And then the gentleman walked a little bit and he turned around and he says, I hope others get to do this too. And along with thousands of others in the city, as National Parks and Recreation Month, hopefully with your approval, draws near here in Cleveland Heights, I share that sentiment too. Thank you.
Lou Radovojevich.
Hello, Mayor. Hello, Council. Lou Radovojevich, Middlehurst Road. I just wanted to, take this opportunity. I think it's coming up on legislation in terms of the down payment assistance, as well as the Cleveland Heights Comprehensive Plan for Affordable Housing. And I think that's an interesting title. I think most of you knew when the Housing Advisory Group was being formulated, which took place in February and was created. I thought it was very knee-jerk because it happened so quickly, and I just wanted to learn more about it. Last week, I had that opportunity to be a part and to listen as a resident to the Housing Advisory Group, just to have a better understanding. And when I listened to the comprehensive plan, it sounded great. Target areas of North Coventry and Noble. And it dawned on me there's $600,000 that we need to spend, And I thought this is great. And when I heard about the loan payment of 0% interest, you pay nothing until you sell your house. 50% of it's forgivable. It's a sweet deal for the residents of Cleveland Heights to tap into. But I think when I started hearing that there's a number of people right now in a holding pattern waiting to get this loan, contingent upon this plan to be accepted, that the state is looking for this, I just need to know, it'd be helpful to know exactly how this money's been used. I mean, if there's $380,000 that I understand has already been allocated out of $600,000 that needs to be spent. So it'd be nice to know, it's almost as if this is being created with the situation that we're in. And it would be great to know where everybody's located. Is it spread in north of Coventry? Is it being utilized in Noble area? My understanding is once that $600,000 is done, there's nothing left. So what are we doing with the $240,000? I mean, I think there's an opportunity. I guess at the end of the day, you know where the 13 homes exist, or we should know. Is it spread out across the city? Is it on Noble? Is it North Coventry? And if not, what else can we do? Is the Black community being represented with the 600,000? I don't know. But I think when we look at the makeup of our city, it would be great to know that that $600,000 with a sweet deal is being allocated to everybody that can use it for affordable housing. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you. As Lou knows, he has my email address and phone number. He has reached out to me before, and he is always able to reach out to me. So Lou, if you ever have questions before coming and making a comment, if something is on your mind, you're always welcome to reach out, and I hope that you'll take me up on that. With regard to the down payment assistance program, as you know, because you were sitting in the committee of the whole meeting, Councilman Cobb asked about the location of those, and the staff is certainly happy to pull that together and share that with people so that we know who was able to benefit from them. And like all ARPA-funded programs, we're happy that people across the city were able to benefit.
All right, thank you, Mayor. We're going to move on to legislation. These are first readings, consideration for adoption today.
I have ordinance number 116-2026 on first reading, and ordinance adopting the City of Cleveland Heights Comprehensive Plan for Affordable Housing and Down Payment Assistance Program, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Petrus.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Next, I have resolution number 117-2026 on first reading, a resolution appointing Nicole McPheron and Dan Lusher as members of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board of the City of Cleveland Heights, Ohio, to fill the remainder of unexpired terms, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Councilmember Cobb, Council President Kuda, and Council Vice President Larson.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Next, I have resolution number 118-2026 on first reading, a resolution appointing Denise Baba as a member of the Transportation and Mobility Committee of the City of Cleveland Heights, Ohio, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Councilmember Cobb, Council President Kuda, and Council Vice President Larson.
So moved.
All right, any discussion? Thank you, Councilman Cobb, for staying on top of these appointments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Next, I have resolution number 119-2026 on first reading, a resolution proclaiming July 2026 to be National Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Cleveland Heights, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Petrus and all City Council members.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Well, I'm just going to give a shout out to James O'Hare and Teddy Roosevelt. How's that? Because they were both very supportive of our parks. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Now, first readings only.
I have ordinance number 120-2026 on first reading, an ordinance to amend certain subparagraphs of ordinance number 241-2025 and subsequent amending ordinances relating to appropriations and other expenditures of the City of Cleveland Heights, Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Petrus. I have resolution number 121-2026 on first reading, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a community cost share agreement with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Petrus. I have resolution number 122-2026 on first reading, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with A&H Equipment for the acquisition of a Pelican three-wheel mechanical street sweeper for the Streets Division of the Department of Public Works, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Petrus. I have ordinance number 123-2026 on first reading. An ordinance declaring improvements to a certain parcel within the city of Cleveland Heights to be a public purpose, exempting the improvements to such parcel from real property taxation for a period of 30 years, requiring the owners of such parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, establish an urban redevelopment tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of such payments, and approving a development agreement with the owner of said parcel, all pursuant to sections 5709.41, 5709.42, and 5709.43 of the Ohio Revised Code, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Petrus.
I'm going to refer that to the Committee of the Whole.
I have ordinance number 124-2026 on first reading, an ordinance amending ordinance number 13-2019 as amended previously by ordinance number 11-2022 and ordinance number 195-2023 to reduce the number of directors on the Board of Directors of the Cleveland Heights Community Improvement Corporation to include only the mayor, president of council, and director of the city's Department of Planning and Development, authorizing the mayor to file appropriate amended articles of incorporation, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Petrus. I have ordinance number 125-2026 on first reading, a resolution establishing a municipal property development and disposition committee and prescribing its composition, purpose, powers, duties, and procedures, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Petrus. I have ordinance number 126-2026 on first reading, an ordinance amending the city's housing and business maintenance codes by enacting new subsection 1347.03G and repealing in their entirety sections 1351.34 and 1369.16C of the City of Cleveland Heights, Ohio's codified ordinances, introduced by Mayor Petrus.
Mr. President, with respect to that ordinance number 126, I'd like to make a motion to adopt this evening on tonight's first reading.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Okay, we did talk about this earlier. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. And the legislation is adopted.
All right, moving on to second readings. I have resolution number 114-2020.
Point of order on that. Did we vote
On just the motion?
on just the motion? I
think we did.
I would advise us to vote again
We
on
need,
the actual.
we need to vote on, we voted on the motion. Do we have to vote separately on passing the legislation?
Sorry to say I wasn't listening closely enough. I thought it was a motion to adopt on.
That was my understanding as well.
No.
That it was a motion to adopt.
That was the motion to adopt.
So if you voted, then.
So we're good. All right. There's some legal advice. We're good.
Okay, now on to second readings. I have resolution number 114-2026 on second reading, a resolution approving the adoption of the 2027 tax budget and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Petrus.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Okay, we got to move in a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Finally, I have resolution number 115-2026 on second reading, and ordinance number 115-2026 on second reading, an ordinance amending Part 1, Title 11, Chapter 171 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Cleveland Heights to enact a new Section 171.02H, Contracts for Youth, Adult, and Senior Program Services, to provide the city with greater flexibility when contracting with persons to administer the city's recreational programming or using city facilities to offer recreational programming to the public, and declaring the necessity that this legislation become immediately effective as an emergency measure, introduced by Mayor Petrus.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. We're on to committee reports. Who would like to go first? Councilman Posh.
So we have this committee as a whole, council committee meeting on the 22nd. Finance committee is going to be having a short meeting. Finance committee is going to have a short meeting, basically an update from the department. Public safety and health is going to have a discussion with council regarding deer management options, deer management recommendations from ODNR. kind of a wireframe draft process of next steps, which would likely include a public hearing. I think I've already shared individually, not for any discussion until the 22nd, just some basic detail about what various council members have learned, talking to other cities. And I believe we would hopefully kind of come to maybe a draft understanding if we want to take some next steps and talk to the administration and go a little bit deeper to see if this is something we should do.
Very good. Council Vice President?
On June 22nd, at the Committee of the Whole, Deanna Bremer Fisher will be presenting information on the city's tree canopy inventory and urban forestry master plan during the Municipal Services and Environmental Sustainability section. And then tomorrow, the Climate and Environmental Sustainability Committee meets at 4 p.m. here in City Hall. And then on the 24th of June, the Transportation Mobility Citizens Committee will be meeting at 7 p.m. That is a Wednesday. That's all.
Very good. Any other committee reports? All right, we'll have public comment, general comments. How many?
About 10.
About 10, all right. Let's do it.
Deborah Van Cleef.
Deborah Van Cleef, Clarendon Road. In 2021, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources found that the nearly 200-year-old earthen dam at Horseshoe Lake was failing and posed a danger to people and property downstream. The Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District determined that the most environmentally responsible and cost-effective solution would be to remove the dam and to restore Doan Brook and the surrounding parklands to something like what the Shakers might have seen when they arrived in the 1820s. A small but vocal group of Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights residents objected to the impending loss of Horseshoe Lake. The target of their anger was and continues to be the sewer district, which, they insinuate, has a nefarious hidden agenda. They have never said what that agenda is, let alone provided evidence of it. Just as we seldom think about what we flush down our toilets and wash down our drains, we don't think much about the utility that treats our waste except when we resent paying their bills. But the sewer district is also an environmental agency charged with managing stormwater and monitoring water quality in the streams that empty into Lake Erie. Unlike gas and electricity payments, our sewer fees do not benefit shareholders because there aren't any. No one gets rich from treating sewage and monitoring water quality. Here in the Heights, we like to think we live in a bubble of enlightenment, but the rhetoric of those who want to keep the lake at all costs is a lot like what we hear in Columbus, Washington, D.C., and indeed much of the country these days. It smacks not only of sentimentality and nostalgia, but also of science denial, rejection of expertise, conspiracy theory, selfishness, and greed. For those watching, if you are just beginning to think about this issue, get the facts. A team of engineers, biologists, hydrologists, and landscape architects took several years to create a visionary plan for a restored stream in a redesigned park. Community education and resident input were integral to that process. Detailed information and designers' renderings are posted on the city website at clevelandheights.gov. Open your mind and take a look.
Carla Rautenberg.
Promise not to shut up. Carla Rautenberg, 3065 Berkshire. I'm glad that Cleveland Heights City Council declined to place a ranked choice voting charter amendment on the November ballot. With the mayor's race, it's easy to see how it would work to eliminate the nonpartisan primary. But none of the adherents was ever able to explain to my satisfaction how RCV would improve upon our current nonpartisan system of electing 7 at-large city council members, in which candidates are already ranked in the order of the number of votes they receive. If Rank the Vote Ohio and its Cleveland Heights adherents had been willing to do the hard work of petitioning voters to put their proposed charter amendment on the ballot, they might have won. Instead, they put that energy into haranguing city council, a losing strategy. In 2013, when Move to Amend wanted voters to approve an ordinance supporting a U.S. constitutional amendment saying that corporations are not people and money is not speech, we begged City Council not to pass the ordinance. We wanted to put it on the ballot with the petition campaign because that educated voters about the issue. And we won. The same proved true with the charter change to elected mayor, and again with the mayoral recall. Jamel Bowie said yesterday in the New York Times, "We tend to relate to our politics the way we relate to everything else in this country, as consumers who pick from a set of predetermined choices. But if we hope to recover and revitalize our democracy, we must start to think as citizens with duties, obligations, and the sovereign power to make our world anew." Thank you.
Edgar Mitchell.
Good evening, Council. Council Mayor, Director of Law. I'm here and happy this evening to come and see you guys because there was a heck of a storm last night. I'm glad we all survived it. I know we might have lost something with trees and different things with structures and homes, but we are still alive, and that's one reason I came tonight, make sure we're all here. You know, because I love seeing you guys, because I really come, you know, when I started to get some stuff done, and I'm glad to say that with the help of council and the Home Resource Center with Ms. Allen and Carol Olmstrom and Mr. Walker and you guys, we all worked together to get that done, and it happened. And that just shows me that when people really work together, that we can get a lot done. Cleveland Heights is a great community. And as we were talking about Heights High a while ago, because I listen a lot to a sports show that comes on every day, and one of the guys on the sports show, Andy Baskin, he went to Cleveland Heights, played hockey for Heights and all that. And they mentioned Heights a lot there. So I'm proud to really be a resident in Cleveland Heights and to watch the people in Heights grow and make the community better. We have problems, yes, we do. Like America and like all the nations in the world, we all gonna have problems. And together, I'm glad to say that we are working, trying to solve a lot of them. That's basically what I have to say tonight, so God bless and see you next meeting.
And Edgar, thank you for your positive messages every meeting.
Denise Booker.
My name is Denise Booker. I live on Revere Road. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here today.
And get close.
Which one, this one? Give me the opportunity to come before you and speak. I'm coming before you. I've been a resident here over 35 years. I retired in 2022. And due to my retirement, I never paid attention to my neighbor in the back. I knew she fed the birds. So as I began to retire and sit on my deck, I'd seen deers all the time. I could see anywhere between 7 to 10 deers that would come in the yard, and they had free access to the back to go into her yard where she was feeding. The problem came one day I was on my back porch. I noticed rodents. When I say rodents, I mean rats. I mean size like a size 9 shoe. I went to the neighbor and I told the neighbor what happened. She continued to feed. I reported to the city. I made about 10 calls. I talked to the mayor's assistant at that time. We had the other mayor, and I called again. And then as the time went on, I started, you retire, you end up clearing my yard out, making sure things are safe. I am a senior citizen. I'm a retired nurse. And even talking to her, so I guess maybe around fall, I can't remember, a rat got in my house. And I explained to her, I said, if I see a rat, we're gonna have a problem. By her feeding the deers, I have raccoons, I have the rodents, I have foxes, I have groundhogs, I have skunks, and I have possums. I have a flood ring light, so I can see everything going in the back. Of course, they're gonna leave a poop there, which create a problem because we got a creek on this side. So, animals don't care where they go, they go. But it's a problem for me as a senior trying to get that cleaned up. I can't allow my grandson to do it anymore because kids don't think. And I'm not gonna put him in that issue. My problem is, when I had to spend a lot of money. I had exterminator. My neighbor over here on the right of me is a senior. On the left of me is a senior, a lady in the back. We all had the two of us have exterminators that came out that we paid. I called the county, Jeff, we on first name basis. He came out, put down the little black boxes. Of course, he didn't catch anything. I put cameras all in my house. Of course, house was built 1949, it's an old house. I got rocks, I did everything I could to get rid of the area. I tried to pull everything up so they wouldn't hide. She continued to feed. So when I called the city, she told me, they were telling me she can't feed. I know according to the Cleveland Heights Ordinance 505.4, you're not supposed to feed the deers. So she is feeding and we're getting rodents. So every time I go to her and tell her, she tells me that nobody told her that she couldn't feed. And I believe it because she's still feeding to this day. I have pictures of her. The first time I had to call the city, I sent them a picture of a rat that was in my house, okay? And so I no longer have any rats in my house, but I got things everywhere. I can't have anybody over my house because even though it's hidden, I'm too embarrassed of it. So the big problem came, so we had exterminators, we cleared up the area. Now my neighbor across the street are dealing with rats. 3 neighbors that have small children and grandchildren. The other day, I sent a picture of the rats, and I'm talking this big, to the mayor, and I got a response from the mayor's assistant. I'm not gonna say the mayor. I got a response saying they've been looking into it. It's been over a year. Nothing takes a year. It's complicated, but we're dealing with it. So I did some investigation along with my neighbors and found out the lady that lives behind me is an attorney. Nobody is above the law. I'm a senior citizen. It's hell living in a house knowing every little noise that you don't know if it's a rat. Right. I wasn't raised with rats, even though some people may think black people were raised with rats. I was not raised with rats. I don't think my son or my grandchildren would want their grandmother to live like that. I even showed them the picture. It's costing me, so why should I get an attorney to get rid of her when they have ordinance that she's supposed to follow? I called Columbus, the wildlife in Columbus. They told me what to do. South Euclid has something going on with the deer population, and I called them. Still nothing done, so here I am. All my neighbors are very upset. They wanted to come in. The deers are still coming. I just seen where they ate my black eye Susies. They ate some of those. My neighbor had other flowers, they ate those. My neighbor built a 7-foot fence so they wouldn't get through. So the deers have to go all around, which is a danger because people cut through Revere. They don't know where they're going, they cut through. There could be an accident. It could be a big problem. And she's still feeding. She told me I was in the backyard doing what I have to do. She don't have rats in her house. So that let me know she doesn't care. She's an attorney, she's over housing and wildlife. She's not above the law. It's not fair to me as a senior citizen. What if I'm in a house and I see something and I break my leg? I don't want to live my last life in the rehab center for something I didn't cause. I'm a nurse for RN 43 years. I believe in prevention, not waiting till something happens. So I'm doing my house, getting rid of everything. And so that's is helping me, but it's still creating a problem.
Oh, question. Did the person that came out from the county, what office?
Jeff, his name, the health department.
Oh, the health.
He talked to somebody here. He just came out because my neighbor across the street that had big rats, and she has a 5-year-old granddaughter, came out. He put feed down in her yard, and they put mine. So yesterday, because my neighbor had this fence, I was in my car, and I was looking, and I thought this was a squirrel on top of the fence. I didn't have my camera out. It was a rat. So now I'm back to buying cameras, because now Ring have it. If something walks, they tell you what it is. So I'm going to put rings around my house because I don't want to live like that. She's not listening. Somebody's telling. Another thing, the deer jumped. I have a lower fence. They jumped my fence and hurt their leg. And I guess they learned from that because she came looking for them and she told me, she asked me, did I see the deer? And I said, no. And she said that she could feed it. Something is wrong. This is not fair to me. I'm a senior citizen, this lady over here and over here, and so is she. And I understand mental status changes. I'm not sure if that's it, but somebody is not telling her what she's doing is creating a problem.
We're out of time, but here's what, so we have to talk about if there's a legislative remedy to this, and obviously I want to see if there's something that.
Isn't section, the Cleveland ordinance, you're not allowed to feed the deer? Isn't that enough?
I don't believe so.
I firstly will take a look into this to learn about it. I don't know the details of this situation, so thank you for coming and talking about this. Just more generally speaking, as a lot of people across our city know, we have a problem with deer. And in Friday's newsletter, for example, we included a section, because it's such a problem, reminding people not to feed the deer. And we've been actively, City Council has been actively exploring a deer management program. And so we hope to get one of those in place in the long term. But right now, tomorrow, we'll take a look into the case and learn more about
Deer
it.
stand in the yard with, I have pictures, the deer stand in the yard with her, not afraid of her. She feed the birds too, and there's no problem. She put the feed on the ground. So if it's on the ground, they don't have to look for food. I seen 5 raccoons at one time go through the side to get there. So now I have those solar all in my yard. I still got to put up more temporarily to try to stop it. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise, for sharing that with us.
Juanita Brent.
Who just happens to be here.
I come with more pleasant news. My name is Juanita O. Brent. I just happen to be the state representative, 77 South High Street, if you want to have an address to put down for this. Thank you for City Council for giving me at least a couple minutes to bring a little sunshine in today. We are celebrating a lot of good anniversaries, one of our school district, but something else that we're going to be celebrating next year is going to be Cumberland facility. And one thing that we have been working together, the mayor and his administration, is bringing us some money for this pool. And I'm happy to say we got you guys some money. And
Clap for that.
in this journey of what we call our capital budget when it comes through the State House, not everybody gets money. There's been a lot of other cities who did not get money, and I'm gonna say some of their names who did not get money because of Cleveland Heights, Parma, Solon, we can keep going on, some other bigger cities who did not get money in the capital budget. So it's not guaranteed that everybody gets money, but I was fortunate enough to say that everybody in my house district, at least, who asked for money, got the money. But some of our bigger cities in our counties did not. So this should not be taken lightly. I'll just say big kudos to our mayor being a first year, hasn't really just hit his first 6 months to bring home $300,000 for the Cumberland pool is just nothing short of amazing. And this has just really just been a team effort to, if I threw a ball, he knocked it. So just the combination of what all it takes, I knew I had to come to City Council to tell everybody about what happens, because we do hear a lot about what's happening within the city, things that we like, some things we don't like, but we have to also acknowledge the hard work that doesn't always get to be seen in Cleveland Heights City Council meetings, and that is bringing home money. And that was something I know our mayor actually campaigned on. It was amazing to see our mayor interact with a lot of my colleagues and talk to them about the importance of our community. And as we enter this 100 years next year of this pool, hopefully, even though I won't be your state representative, you can still bring me back when we celebrate the 100 years of Cumberland Aquatic Facility next year. So obviously, this is not the money. The money will be being pulled down, but just for dramatics, and I didn't want anybody to even know what I was doing. This is more for you guys here. It's just a...
Nice.
So I'm always here for the dramatics. So I didn't even tell anybody I was even coming. I was just coming just to come, because even though I had talked to the mayor and also to the council president, but I wanted people at home who are watching, and I know folks watch this at home because they tell me, that I wanted folks to know that the city is moving. We are taking care of the facilities, and this is your taxpayer dollars at work. If you ever wanted to know what the mayor's doing and what I'm doing, we are working hard to keep these historical places here in place. And I do want a picture, if somebody could take one with their nice phone, I appreciate it. With the mayor.
Let Addie take.
Come on, Mayor.
Closer.
Yeah, we got to get that. Representative Brent, we really appreciate you. you not only show up everywhere and keep us informed, but you deliver for us, and we appreciate you, and you've done a great job. I think we've had you 3 or 4 years.
It's three
Just 3
years.
years,
Yeah.
And
It's my third district because of gerrymandering.
right, but we're very fortunate.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
So this is when I get so disappointed knowing we got term limits in this state, especially for you in your seat, because this $300,000, I mean, yeah, you've thrown a lot of love to people, but we need to throw some love back at you for helping us do this. You're incredible. You're going to be missed so much. I hope you find another place, another elected place that you can like hang your hat on again and do some great work again.
Well, I appreciate
You will be
that.
missed.
The folks in Cleveland Heights have been nothing but short of family. I don't say that in no form or fashion, no matter if it's people coming down to shadow me for the day. When I tell you, I can count probably at least 12 different constituents just from Cleveland Heights who came and shadowed, just want to see the process. The State House is really, is your house. And you guys have always made me feel so welcome with every event that you guys included me on. And I'm not dying, I just won't be elected anymore.
I was just gonna say, let's not, start the.
I'm not done. I don't end till December, so I still have more things to do. Hopefully, more money we can bring back to the
But
district.
I just want to thank you because not only did you navigate Columbus with Mayor Petrus, but you have been such a resource to us, especially the new members of council. But we also have older members of council who are now in a functioning, council and a functioning administration. And your guidance and helping us navigate the state capital budget and just being there as a resource for us, we're just so grateful. And this wouldn't have been possible without you.
I also like to brag on myself. I also got money for our theater on Lee Road and also our Welcome Home money that for the Starlight. So I've brought home 3 projects within the month. So everything that Cleveland Heights has asked for, I've delivered on. Everything.
And you should brag about your newsletter because it has so much information.
The Councilwoman Stone wanted to say something too.
I spent 20 years in Columbus and was often at the state budget table trying to do just what you did. And the successful projects were those that had a good story, and we have a good story to tell, but they are mostly the product of a very effective legislator, somebody who can tell the story to others who may not know us, who may not care about us, especially as a first-time applicant. So we owe you a great deal of gratitude for your skill and your tenacity to bring this home.
It was definitely a team effort, and we sat down many times, the mayor and his administration, working on the details. Who do we need to talk to? What we need to go through? And it was really a tag team system. Literally, we were tag teaming all of that. And I also want to thank council too, because the information I was sending to the mayor, I also sent to the council of people that we all needed to work together to make this happen. Nothing happens in silos. I like to give myself kudos, but nothing happens in silos. We all contributed to it. And, I know different people were making phone calls and being very intentional about this, but this is about the people here in Cleveland Heights, and we're getting things done. And I'm just so proud to be a part of it. We got 3 projects done. One was for the city, one was for housing, one is for our theater. Cleveland Heights, we're doing well.
Mr. President?
Yes.
If I could, one of the things that I learned during this experience was that the city of Cleveland Heights has one fighter in the State House, and that is Representative Juanita Brent. So let's firstly give her a round of applause. Legislators can choose how much time they put into their job.
That's right.
And as many of you know, she shows up every day working hard. She wasn't at this city hall just once. She was here again and again and again with us, trying to put together the strongest application possible. She was telling her colleagues, hey, have you met with my mayor? I want you to meet with him. And I know that because they reached out to me saying, Juanita reached out to me telling me to give you a call. And so I am so grateful for everything that she's done. Councilman Posh said that he'd love to see her land into another position, and hopefully she's open to the idea of landing here at City Hall after her term ends. So thank you so much for joining us as a representative.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Council President, for this time, and thank you so much to Cleveland Heights. You guys deserve it. Thank you.
Barbara Sosnowski.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
I'm thankful for so many people tonight. I want to thank Keisha again. I didn't see her around anymore. I just met with her just the other week, and this is a commercial for me because they didn't have what I needed. I need a saw, like a concrete saw with a diamond blade, about 5 to 10 inches wide. Anybody out there? Anyways, she was trying to help me get this I'm deconstructing the pathway through the Roanoke Noble space, finding new plots for all the stones, and these last stones that are the flat stones that are the quarry stones need to be cut in order to be the final placement of the retaining wall for our pollinator garden. So anyways, that's one thing I'm thankful for. She was very helpful for me, even though they didn't have the saw. I'm also thankful for filled and watered flower pots and hanging baskets, as Kim of Deluxe Landscape is re-engaged to decorate our space along Noble Road. And I'm so thankful to the council and the mayor for listening to those of us who, celebrated her a long tenure before and missing her for the 1 year. So thank you very much for that. I also see new businesses rising. There's been some stuff going on. I am on the space at that Noble Roanoke a lot. And so people are always coming across the street to introduce themselves to me and also introduce me to their new spaces, a new barber shop and a new place, 1223 Lounge. No, it's not the old lounge, 123 Lounge or whatever that was. Anyways, so I'm really thankful for all that work that's being done. I still will be meeting with you all, talking about that same garden, the Noble Roanoke Garden Park, for how the city plans to engage that as far as lighting and safety. I understand that there was a grant for this new walkway, but I want to make plans because I am not going to be the Energizer Bunny forever there. And I want to know that it's going to be engaged more and more by the city and how I can help that happen. Thank you so much.
Isaac Mahali?
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Hi.
We have a lot of green pasture, but there is some big corruption is going on in this city concerning Taylor Road Synagogue. I am the vice president. Reluctantly, they put me and become vice president 15 years ago. There are elements in the cities that they have idea on this building. Even though we maintain it with $500,000, putting all things from central air because the boiler was broken. We put central air and all is done mostly by me. Electrical, plumbing, and all these things. The county, actually the state took it over, give it to the land bank, and the land bank was recommended to the land bank to give it back to Taylor Road Synagogue. Instead, they went and they gave it to somebody by the name of Matthew Weimer, which is nothing but a facade for the city. Nothing but facade. For $600. $600. Not 600,000, $600. Corruption to what level can get? We find the paperwork, the recommendation of this, but that's beside the point. Suddenly the guy showed up, Matthew Weimer. Yeah, you are intruder. I am the vice president. I came and I talked to Captain Williams. I told him this guy is using fire department to come and involve himself in the synagogue. And so he said, I won't be there Friday. Call the police. The guy shows out, Matthew Weimer. I called the police. 7 police cars, they came. And I am outside. Do you know what they did? They arrested me. You know what excuse? Criminal trespassing. I say, how dumb can you get? I'm the vice president of the synagogue. Oh, this is not a synagogue. Oh, so maybe it's synagogue. It's not a synagogue. Read, if you know English, read the sign in the front. It says Taylor Road Synagogue. So they booked me, and this is violation of federal law. Now I am in touch with the federal government over this issue. This is interference of in a house of worship. It happened to Don Lemon from CNN that went on the church in Minnesota, and he was arrested. Now, I tried to resolve this issue peacefully with the city. I came and I tried to see Mr. Petros because I talked to him like about 45 minutes when he was running for office, and I mentioned him this issue. But it seems there is too many elements in this city that they are corrupt to the bone, and they want this place to be given to them for free, basically, $600. And if you won't believe me, write 1970 South Taylor Road, that's the address. Taylor Road, you see, come to Matthew, cumulus accusation, bought for $600. Now, I try to not to, and this is not the first thing that
Sorry, you're going to have to wrap it up. Your time is up. But
I know.
so just-
There were lots of other people, but because these are not, because they arrested me 5 years ago, they made up things that I'm going to come to the city hall with a machine gun and with the bomb, and I'm going to bomb the city hall. Now, in my life, everybody knows, Mr. Singer knows me, that I do a lot of charity on this community. Anybody who needs car, house repair, this, that, he called Isaac, and I do for free. It's like what you have this resource center, I do it on my own. So they came and they made up these charges of I am, and I never had a gun in my life. I never been in any army. I was born in Iran as a Jew, and I saw the discrimination, and now I couldn't believe in myself in America to be discriminated to that level, and then they closed their eyes into it. So they dragged it, they came, I called Detective Topping, who is a friend of mine, and I told them, Russell, can you check to see why 10 police, my neighbor called me and said, there is 10 police car in front of your house on Blanche. What? Yeah, they got you for inducing panic. On what? But that has nothing to do with inducing panic. Anyway, they came and
we're going to have to wrap it up.
They told me not to come to Cleveland. I said, make it short. Not to come to Cleveland. I stay in East Cleveland, and I came. I said, I'm going to come by myself. But then they set up a task force because I am Al Capone.
All right,
I
Isaac.
had to come in East Cleveland,
Isaac,
property that I was.
We're going to have to
and
wrap it up.
arrested me.
Thank you for...
And for a year and a half, they dragged it. And you know what? When they saw there is no evidence or nothing, we dismissed the charge.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right.
And you're telling me it's not corrupt?
We're going to have to, thank you. I'm sorry, is there anybody? All right. Sorry, but we have to at least try to keep to the time limit. We are now, let's see, sorry.
Old business.
Old business and new business. Any old business? Any new business? Any council comments? How about Councilman DeWitt Foy?
I just want to give a big shout out to city staff for everything that went on this weekend. It was a busy weekend, top to bottom, and from Juneteenth, incredible event at Kane Park, to the parade yesterday, a lot of celebration throughout the city, but as the mayor said, that comes with a lot of work behind the scenes. I know police and fire were working overtime to ensure that there was safety at these events, as well as everything else that is going on in the city. And then to top it off with a major storm yesterday afternoon, I know everyone was working overtime. Police, fire, public works, forestry were out and continue to be out. So just want to say thank you to all of them for keeping us safe and keeping the city moving. So thank you.
I just wanted to add something. I didn't quite get it in on committee reports. There's an event coming up that I hope that all of you who are interested in housing in Cleveland Heights will put on your calendar. This is an open house to get your opinions about the city's work doing an assessment of housing needs for Cleveland Heights. It's going to be on Wednesday, June 24th at 5 p.m. at the Heights Community Center. This has been a report that's been some time in coming, and this is going to be a chance to take a preview of some of the findings of that report and also seek your opinions. So I hope you'll come.
Just quickly, I'll add on to Councilor DeWitt Foy's comments. I saw on the local news that our fire department handled 110 calls yesterday afternoon. And I will just say that we heard a lot of it, and even so much so that my 3-year-old said, "Mommy, I hear the ambulance sirens. I hope everybody's okay." So I just want to really thank the city staff for their involvement there. Also, I did, Barb stole my thunder, but the flowers look beautiful. I drove up Friday afternoon. The Noble and Oxford Elementary Schools had their Juneteenth celebration at Oxford Elementary, and we were driving up and it just looked beautiful. I mean, really transformed the business districts. The last thing I want to share is that I did see from the Cleveland Heights for Immigrant Rights group that they have scheduled the 3 legal clinics that we started the conversation about months and months ago. And so they're out there. The first one is on citizenship and naturalization. It's Monday, June 22nd, 6 to 7 p.m. The second one is family preparedness and power of attorney. That's on Monday, July 6th at 6 to 7 p.m. And I do not know, I'm getting there. The third one is DACA, and that's Monday, July 20th at 6 to 7 p.m. I did not see a registration link on the website, but there is a link to sign up on their social media via the links there. And I believe that the location is not being publicized, but if you sign up, they will provide it to you. I only know this from social media, but I wanted to share with the community because I know that's been a issue of concern. So thank you.
Yeah, Mayor.
Mr. President, I'm sorry for adding, and I want to apologize to police and fire for not remembering to thank them earlier for their hard work. As Councilwoman Cohen said, as of 9 p.m. yesterday, they made 110 runs. So for context, they typically do about 20 runs in a day. So that is more than 5 times as much, and that was only at 9 p.m. And so they were working their tails off, and so I, along with everyone else, are very grateful to them.
Council Vice President.
I would like to give my gratitude for a personal reason. Thank you to Mayor Petrus, Amanda Matalone from the Office on Aging, the Cleveland Heights police officers, and Cleveland Heights EMS for helping my good friend on June 1st after she took a serious fall down her basement steps. We are very grateful for their calm, patient help during this traumatic event for my friend. On a different note, there will be a cleanup in the Forest Hill Park led by the Eastside Citizens Empowerment Foundation on Saturday, June 27th at 10 a.m. The starting location is the parking lot at the intersection of Superior and Forest Hills Boulevard. This is a project to help our neighboring city of East Cleveland. If you can join the group, it'll be greatly appreciated. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. I really just echo for the council president's report. I went to the Juneteenth event. It was wonderful. And it was a beautiful day, which is fantastic to have that. And the attendance just kept growing as time went on. I got to chat with Layla Edwards a little bit at the ceremony. And one great thing about her message was, she said, look, you don't have to play hockey, but just find that thing, she was her message to the kids, find that thing that you love and that you feel passionate about and work hard. And, great things are going to happen. And what an extraordinary person. I don't think there's any accident that she grew up here and was very influenced by her surroundings here, and she has that appreciation that people get. They grow up here and know how much the community contributed to who they are. And Mayor, I want to say thank you for organizing this whole thing. I know you had a lot of help, but you had that vision about how great this would be to honor her and to capture that moment. And I think we captured it beautifully on yesterday. And with that, at 9:27, our meeting is adjourned.